Blessings, beautiful beings. Thank you so much for joining me today. For practice, prop-wise, if you want to grab some blocks, you can. If you don't have blocks, that's fine. You can grab books or just anything that you can bring the ground up higher to you. So like old, thick textbooks are really good for that. If you don't have that, no worries. Also, if you want a bolster, you can go grab that. If you don't have a bolster, you can use a pillow. And then if you want some blankets, you can grab those, and it doesn't have to be yoga blankets like I have. They could be just random blankets that you have around your house for practice today. So you can pause the video, go grab those if you don't have them already. Again, if it's not in your practice to use them or you don't have them, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You don't necessarily need them. They're just an option for you to have. So we're going to start today by coming to our mat and coming into a cross-legged seat. So whatever is comfortable for you in that space. Give me 1 second. When you come to your cross-legged seat, you have a couple options. If you have a pillow or a bolster like I have, you can come and sit on it. That's going to bring your hips up above your knees, and it's a little nicer on your knee joints. I'm going to grab my blanket here, and I'm going to have a seat. And we're just going to set our pen down here for a minute. Just come into our space and really get grounded and centered before we start our practice. You may be watching this video after work or after running errands or just doing other things. So it's really helpful to come to this space, take a few moments to get ourselves grounded and centered before we begin with the practice. You can also, if you'd like, you can set an intention for your practice. You don't have to if one doesn't come up for you. It's perfectly fine. You don't need it. This is all just suggestions. So when you come to your cross-legged seat, again, however it feels comfortable for you to sit, go ahead and do so. Hands can be resting on the knees, palms down, palms facing up. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you. I have Sam here. I also have Fritz here this week. And then if you'd like, you can also close down your eyes, or if that's not comfortable for you, you can soften your gaze. So it's really up to you and how you would like to practice today. Fritz would like to chew on himself. All right. So we'll go ahead and focus on the breath for just a few moments. So really, when you focus on the inhale, really feel that cool air coming into your nostrils. And as you exhale, you can focus on the warmth of the breath as it leaves the body. Sam is deciding to be talkative. Okay, can we put that out for a little bit? Thank you. Hey, no. So focus on the inhale and exhale. Just let everything go that's happened in the day thus far. You may have had a really crappy day. It could have been a crappy week so far. But just let it all go. If you want to pick it up after class, it'll still be there for you. But for now, just don't focus on it. And if your thoughts drift to that, that's okay. You can acknowledge it and then just kind of let it go. Let it float on through. But we're going to do a little breathing exercise. So we're going to do some box breathing. Box breathing is, we're going to think of a box. So we will inhale for a count of 4. We'll hold at the top for a count of 4. We'll exhale for a count of 4. And then we will hold at the bottom for a count of 4. So it'll like 4, 4, 4, 4, like a square, a box. So go ahead and take just another regular breath, however you'd like. You can even sigh it out, letting everything that's happened so far go. Go ahead and get started. So I will count you guys in and kind of guide you through it. So let's go ahead and inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom. 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll do this one more time. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it go. And take a nice big breath in, and then exhale, and you can sigh it out. Sam is coming over to officially say hi. He's smacking me with his tail. And when you're ready, you can slowly start to open your eyes if they are not already open, or you can come back to focus your gaze again. All right, so now that I have 2 dogs playing on me and completely taking up my mat while everyone's looking at me, we'll go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and warm up the neck a little bit. So we'll do some neck circles. Now when we're doing these neck circles, don't take your neck all the way around. Don't like just, flip your hair, things like that. I mean, you can if you want, but it will hurt your neck a little bit more in the long run. So let's start by taking smaller circles first. So just little bitty circles. So kind of like you are, hey, can we not? No, go on. Okay, you can sit here. So we'll start, at least I'm sitting down and I'm not up, to where they can knock me over. Like they did earlier today, and I busted my knee pretty good. All right. All right, so we'll take little bitty circles. So you can kind of imagine like you're tracing the inside of like a teacup. Then you can gradually start to make those circles bigger. So think of even like Maybe not a teacup to a saucer to like a dinner plate, you know. But you can also think about like ripples in a pond. Like where they start out really tiny, that little dot, and then it just extends out. And then go ahead when you're ready and we'll reverse our circle. So we'll go the other way. So if you ended up a little bit bigger, start where you were and then bring it in towards the center. So like you have a little marker on your nose and you're just making those little ripples, making them smaller and smaller and smaller. All right. And when you're ready, go ahead and come back to stillness. And we'll just take a breath here and kind of feel your neck. You can see if it's loose enough. You might bring your ear to your shoulder and stretch it out a little bit more. You can nod your head yes. You can nod your head no. Just take any movements that feel good to you that you need in your neck. All right, so let's go ahead and warm up the rest of our body. So I'm going to place my right hand down on the mat, and I'm going to stretch my left arm up towards the ceiling. Inhale, sit up nice and straight and tall, and on an exhale, bend through that elbow, cross the midline, and you should feel a nice stretch in the left side of your body. And breathe. Make sure while you are in this position that your head isn't collapsing down. You want to still keep it active. Keep that neck in line with your spine. And only go as far as it feels comfortable to you. You don't have to stretch all the way over. You want to keep that left hip on the floor. Your next inhale, go ahead and come back up to center, and on an exhale, lower that left arm back down. Now we'll take just a couple breaths here. Just observe your two sides, your left and your right. See if you can notice any differences between them after that simple stretch. Right, when you're ready, we'll move to the other side. So go ahead and place your left arm down by your side on the mat. We'll stretch our right arm up overhead, up towards the ceiling, and on an exhale, cross that midline. So feeling that nice stretch on the right side. Now you want to kind of keep your chest up towards the ceiling. You don't want to collapse forward. So really keep like you're spiraling up to look at your hand or the ceiling. And again, only go as far as feels comfortable to you. Make sure, the main thing is you don't want your hip, you don't want to be going so far that your hip is coming off the ground. You want to make sure your hip is nice and grounded. Take just a couple more breaths here. On your next inhale, go ahead and return to center. And on an exhale, lower that hand back down to the mat. And let's just breathe here for a moment. Observing the two sides, see if you feel any differences. And we're going to go ahead and transition onto our hands and knees. And I swear they only do this when there's a camera on. This doesn't normally happen. They were both asleep. As soon as I turned the camera on and came to my mat, they just want to play. Apparently it's playtime for them. If I was not on this mat, they probably wouldn't be doing this. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and come to hands and knees. Now, like I said earlier, I busted my knee because these guys were in a hurry to sniff a light pole. So they knocked me on the ground during our walk today, so my knee is a little bit tender. If you have a tender knee like me, this is where a blanket or a towel or just Any soft padding is really good. You can place that under your knees if you're on like a hardwood floor like I am, and that will help to kind of cushion your knee. I kind of double folded my towel so it's a little bit thicker than what I would normally do, just because my knee is not feeling the greatest. But again, you listen to your body and do what feels good to you. It's going to vary from day to day depending on what's happened. So for those of you that have practiced with me before, I normally don't use a blanket under my knee because my knees are usually fine. Today it's not. So I'm going to honor my body and use the prop. All right, so once you're in tabletop position, go ahead and bring your knees as wide as the mat, big toes to touch. We're going to look forward, and on an exhale, shift your hips back and down, and we're going to come into an extended child's pose. So you can walk your fingertips out further if you'd like. You can bring your head to rest, or your forehead to rest on the mat in between your arms. If your head doesn't reach towards the ground, that's okay. You can bring a block to your forehead and rest your forehead on a block, or another blanket, or a bolster, or a pillow, or just whatever you have. And while you're here, just breathe. You'll feel your back body stretching as you inhale, and as you exhale, just coming right back in. And we'll take one more breath. When you're ready, we'll go ahead and return to center. Come back into that tabletop position. I am going to lose my blanket here. Fritz, would you like a blanket? There you go. Maybe that will make him lay down for a minute. Go ahead and untuck your toes if they're tucked. You can leave the blanket if you'd like. It's completely up to you. But go ahead and walk your handprint just a little bit forward. Not as, walk it about a handprint forward. And then we're going to go ahead and tuck our toes under. Now we are not going to go into a downward facing dog. I know that's where everyone thinks we're probably going if you've watched my videos before. But instead, let's go ahead and straighten through the right leg with your toes tucked under. And you might need to readjust your hands. I need to readjust mine so they're a little bit more under my shoulder. After you have that right leg tucked, go ahead and tuck your left leg, and then we'll extend that out. And we're in our first plank pose of the day. Yay! Make sure you're not dipping your hips down. Make sure you're not lifting them up or rounding through the spine. So you want a nice straight back. And you can look forward, head in line, and we'll just take a couple breaths here. One more breath. On your next exhale, lift the hips up, push through the hands, and we're going to come into a downward facing dog now. If it feels good in your body, you can walk your dog by bending one knee and then the other. Kind of switch it up on everybody. Normally go right into a downward facing dog, but this time throw in a plank. A little extra ab work. When you're ready, go ahead and bring that to stillness. Your heels do not have to touch the mat. They can be lifted off the mat. All right, after your next, so go ahead and take another inhale. And on your exhale, let's go ahead and make our way towards the top of the mat. So you can take baby steps. You can crisscross one foot in front of the other if you'd like. You can take a couple of big steps. You can jump, hop, float, levitate, whatever is in your practice. But we're going to come into our first forward fold. Now this is a place where you can use your blocks. So if you have really tight hamstrings, your feet don't have to be in really close together. You can bring them a little bit wider, and you can bend your knees as generously as you like. My hamstrings are tight and they're cold right now, a little bit cold. So I'm not going to really push I'm not going to push them as much. So I'm going to keep a little bit more of a bend in my knee. If you have blocks or books, you can bring those and bring the floor up to you, and you might be able to straighten your legs a little bit more. The main thing is make sure you're not blocking out in the knees. Keep a little bit of a bend. And you should feel a nice stretch in your hamstrings. It shouldn't be in your back. It should be in the back of the legs. And you can use your blocks on different levels too. So that was the highest. You can also use like this, the lower setting. Or if you're all warmed up and ready to go, you can place your hands to the mat too. Again, just whatever feels comfortable to you today. And it could change throughout practice today too. So just because I'm using these blocks right now doesn't mean I'm going to use them later. All right. Go ahead and come up halfway, flat back, hands on shins. Inhale, exhale, let it go. Come back to that forward fold and breathe. Take one more inhale. And on your next exhale, go ahead and slowly, you can bend your knees as generously as you'd like. We're going to roll up very slowly through the spine. And then you can loop your shoulders up, back, and down. Bring your head and neck up last. Make any adjustments that you need to your clothes. And we're going to come into a mountain pose. So your feet don't have to be close together. You can have them kind of hip distance apart. So this is kind of hip distance. Any women that are practicing, we normally step out a little bit wider than our hips. So this would be our, if we had hip accessories, this would be a little bit more appropriate, but we just want to go hip width. Your hips are not as wide as you think. All right, you just want to stand up nice and straight and tall, thumbs pointing forward, pinkies pointing back, chest lifted. And I'm just taking, you don't have to turn with me, I'm just taking different angles so you can see. And you can close down the eyes if it feels good to you, and just breathe. Really focus on that foot to earth connection. Feel the ground underneath your feet and really anchor in to your mat and to the earth below it. As you breathe, you can also draw up energy. I'm going to turn to face you so you can see what I'm doing here a little bit better. But we're going to stretch out our side bodies a little bit more. So go ahead on an inhale. Bring your arms up to the side and up overhead. Now, if this does not, going up to the side, if that doesn't feel good on your shoulder, my shoulder's a little wonky, you can bring it straight up too and see if that feels better. So if you have any shoulder issues, try both. See what feels good for you and take that. Both will get you to the same place. Neither one is more right than the other. Now, while you're here, the tendency is to bring the shoulders up so you have earmuffs. Lower your shoulders down so you should feel the scapula in your, are those scapula? Yeah, scapula. Feel that rotate down your back body. So pull your scapula back, kind of like you're pinching a pencil or a pen. I don't know why you would be, but let's say you are. You can also imagine holding like a big beach ball overhead. We don't need to bring the hands in. So this is not as high as I'd like it. Let me, you don't have to lower down. Stay up nice and straight and tall. So what you'll do is you'll take your right hand on an inhale, grab your left wrist. What's up? Inhale, stand up nice and straight and tall, and on an exhale, cross that midline. So you should feel a stretch in the left side. You can go as far as you'd like. Just make sure your feet are nice and planted on the ground and breathe. Make sure your head's not collapsing on your arms. So again, make sure it's nice and in line with the spine. We'll take one more breath here. On your next inhale, go ahead and come back to center. On an exhale, let's lower down the arms, come back into that mountain pose, and just, again, compare the two sides. So after I do this, I always feel like my left arm is longer than my right arm. I don't think it is, but maybe. It feels like it. Maybe you have a different sensation than what I did. That's okay. All right, so on your next inhale, let's go ahead and return our arms up overhead. Again, make sure you don't have shoulders for earmuffs. And this time we're going to take our left hand and grab our right wrist. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, cross that midline and feel that nice stretch in the right side body. And breathe. Now, if you feel any discomfort, you can back up out of it. Again, listen to your body and see how it feels. I had to come out of it and go back into it because I felt a little pinch on the left side of my ribs. A little uncomfortable, so I just came up and came back in. Next, inhale, straighten, come back to center, and on an exhale, lower back through the hands, and we'll return to our mountain pose. Again, you can close the eyes if it feels good to you. You can leave them open. Just really focus on the sensations that are going on in your body. Go inward. Pay attention to your body. All right. If you turn to the center of your mat, go ahead and come back to the top. I'm going to move my blocks a little bit. And this time, go ahead and lift the arms up overhead, touch, and then on an exhale, hinge at the hips, come forward. We're going to come back down into that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, hands on shins. Exhale, back down to that forward fold. Again, you can use your blocks if you'd like, in whatever setting is comfortable to you. And just breathe. Don't forget to breathe. If you are on blocks, move them out of the way. You can bend your knees if you'd like. Make sure your hands are planted firmly in the floor. We're going to step one foot back, doesn't matter, and then your other foot back, and we're going to come back into that plank pose. Make sure to push through the heels. Make sure you are nice and straight through your back, neck, and legs, and breathe. On your next inhale, or after your next inhale, on your next exhale, go ahead and slowly lower all the way down to the floor. Don't belly flop, that's not very comfortable. All right, make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders, and on an inhale, peel the nose forward and look just straight in front of you. So you can peel your chest and your neck up a little bit. Just coming into a baby cobra, warming up our middle back, the middle of our back. Make sure you're breathing here. next exhale, go ahead and lower your forehead down to the floor. And then we're gonna push ourselves up to all fours. Go ahead and tuck your toes. Inhale, look forward, and on an exhale, lift the knees, straighten through the legs, shift your hips up, back, and down, coming back into that downward facing dog. And breathe. Your next exhale, go ahead and look forward. Go ahead and make your way back up to the top of the mat, back into that forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway, flat back. Exhale, let it all go. And then we'll breathe. After your next exhale, or take another inhale. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and roll all the way back up into our mountain pose. We'll take just a couple breaths here. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and step our right foot back. We're going to keep our left foot forward. With your right foot, when you are going back, make sure that your toes are turned kind of at a 45-degree angle. You don't need them directly straight ahead like in a lunge. So you'll want to turn them out just a little bit. And then also make sure, while I'm here, that your feet are on parallel train tracks. You don't want it to be on a tightrope like this. That makes balancing a lot harder, and it's not great on your knees. So, if you're in mountain, just step that right foot back, again at the 45-degree angle, and then you can bend through that left knee. Now when your front knee, maybe you're doing left, I'm on my left, so I'll just say left, but it can be whatever you'd like. We're going to do the other side. Make sure it is at a 90-degree angle, so we don't want our knee coming over our ankle. And then also make sure that you're pushing your knee out to the pinky toe side. So you don't want to collapse it in. You should be able to see your big toe. From here, make sure your hips are facing towards the short edge of your mat. And your hands can be on your hips, or if you'd like, you can bring them up overhead into a warrior one. And then from here, just breathe. Really pushing into your feet, feeling that energy in the arches. Feeling the strength through your arms and your legs. Take one more inhale, and on your next exhale, go ahead and lower your hands down if they were up. And then we're going to go ahead and interlace our fingers behind our back. So just opening up through the chest. On your next inhale, look forward, and on an exhale, use your torso, and we're going to bend forward. So we're coming into a humble warrior. Now your hands can be straight out, or you can start to bring them up. Again, only go to where it feels comfortable to you. And if your hands don't go all the way up to the ceiling, that's okay. If you fall out of it, that's okay. Just come back into it. Now to come out of this, avoid the urge to just like slingshot your hands out of it. Just go ahead and from your torso, roll up. So really use that core abdominal strength, and then go ahead and let it go. Let your arms go. All right, when you're ready, Step your right foot back up. We're going to come back into that mountain pose and just take a couple breaths here. Again, compare your two sides. Observe how both sides feel. See if you notice any differences. And if you don't, that's okay too. All right, when you're ready, your next inhale, let's go ahead and sweep our arms up overhead. And on an exhale, hinge at the hips, coming forward, flat back, forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, forward fold once again. And we'll stay here for just a moment and breathe. And after your next exhale, go ahead and step one foot back. And then the other, going back into that plank pose. Remember, push through the heels, nice straight flat back. Last plank pose of the day, or at least for this class. You are free to do as many plank poses as you'd like. So make it a good one. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and slowly lower all the way down to your belly. Now we're going to rise up into our Cobra. So again, make sure your hands are underneath your shoulders. And on an inhale, peel the nose forward, look forward, coming into a baby Cobra. If you would like a little bit more and it's in your practice, push through those palms and rise up into a full Cobra. If you have any crankiness in your back at all or in your lower spine, lower down a little bit. You don't have to push all the way up. Again, listen to your body. Go to do what feels good to you. You should feel a nice stretch in the abdominal muscles. We're going to use those in a little bit. Just be excited. One more inhale, and on your next exhale, go ahead and lower back down. All right, so from here, we're going to transition into a downward facing dog again. So you can come back up to all fours and then go to your downward facing dog if you'd like. Or this time, you can curl your toes under, make sure your hands are underneath your palms, and then push into the ground, coming up through plank, and then you can lift your hips up and back. So I will leave that up to you. We're all going to meet here in a downward facing dog. So just once you get here, take a moment to breathe. On your next inhale, look forward. And on your exhale, again, we're going to make our way back up to the top of the mat to where we can come into that forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway, flat back. Exhale, let it all go. And we'll breathe here for just a moment. This is our last forward fold of the practice today. Take one more inhale, and on your next exhale, go ahead and roll up to a standing position. And you can lift your shoulders up, back and down, make any adjustments to your clothing, get out any wiggles. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring it to stillness, coming into that mountain pose. Again, just observe the body, see how you're feeling. Ready? We're going to do that warrior series on the other side. So go ahead, really ground into that right foot, and this time we'll step our left foot back. Again, make any adjustments you need to after you step back. So you might need to shorten the stance or maybe widen it. So I kind of need to widen mine a little bit. There we go. All right, And then from here, hands can be on your hips, or you can reach them up above your head. Oh my goodness. Sounded like I was trying to sing like a Paula Abdul song there. If you know what song I'm referring to, put it in the comments, please. That'd be great. You don't win anything, but at least I'll know I'm not totally old. One more breath here. And on your exhale, go ahead and lower your arms down if they were extended overhead. All right, so now this time we will clasp our hands behind us. Bring the opposite hand on top, so the one that feels funny. The one that feels uncomfortable, different, change, don't like it. It might take you a second to get it. And then you can lift up through the chest. Inhale, and then on an exhale, start to bow forward, coming into that humble warrior. Again, you might stay here, or if you'd like, you can come lower and bringing the arms overhead. And breathe. Take one more inhale. And on an exhale, slowly come back up to stand. Release the hands, let it go. And then you can step that left foot up to meet the right, coming back into a mountain pose. And breathe. This is our last mountain pose of the day. Take advantage. Enjoy it. Standing still and observing how our bodies feel. And we don't often do this because I know that I'm constantly like on the go here, there, and everywhere. And it can be really hard to slow down and to just stop and take inventory and tap into how I feel. Sometimes we're just moving through life so fast. All right. So I'm going to turn to the long end of my mat. You can stay on the short end of your mat. I'm just turning towards here so you can see. We're going to start to transition back down to the mat. So step your feet a little wider than your hip accessories. You can turn your toes out. And then from here, start to bend through the knees. So we're going to come into a little Yogi Squat. You might be here, and that's okay. Stay where it feels comfortable to you. If you'd like to go a little lower, you can. You may just have to adjust your feet a little bit, like I did. And you want to come as far down as you can, because we're going to come sit on the mat after this. Now, you can also lift up through your heels and come into kind of like this froggy posture. Green, like a little frog. If your heels can come down to the mat, then go ahead and work your way to that. From here, go ahead and bring your palms, wherever you're at, bring your palms into heart center. If you're down closer to the floor like I am, then you can bring your knees in between bring your arms in between your knees, and you can kind of push out a little bit. Make sure to keep your chest still nice and lifted. Look forward and breathe. Feel a nice stretch in your inner thighs, opening up through the hips. The other thing you can do, I did not mention, sorry for anyone that's in it, you can bring a block and you can sit on the block too. Or a book or whatever you have. All right, one more breath here. And then when you're ready, take one arm back behind you, Take the other, and then you can come to a seat. Yeah, I'll stay here. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of ab work. Again, take what feels good in your body. Not everyone's gonna be on the same level. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way. Okay, there we go. Let me go to the side. I like to practice this way so I can look out my door. So if someone comes up and these dogs are going to come running at me, they don't knock me over. All right, so go ahead, and I have my booty on the floor, feet flat on the floor, knees bent. Now from here, go ahead and actually place your hands beneath your, like on your hamstrings, so underneath your knees. And then from here, make sure you're sitting up nice and straight. This may be enough for you today. If you'd like a little more, you can lift one leg, and then you can lift the other, and you might stay here for today. If this feels like it's too much, lower back down to the first position. So all I'm doing right now is giving you options. So you take whatever option is best for your body, your level, and how you feel today. But don't phone it in. Just because I'm giving you easier options, don't phone it in. Make sure that you're still pushing yourself appropriately, but don't push yourself to the point of pain. So you might stay here. Maybe you let go from behind the knees, and then you're here. If you'd like a little bit more, you can straighten through the legs and come into a full boat pose, but make sure you're staying lifted up through your chest and your back is nice and straight. And then breathe. You may try one of these out like this and decide, nope, I need to come back down, and that's okay. Breathe. Feel that shake. Feel that energy. Feel all that fire going through you. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and lower your feet back to the floor. How'd you do? Now the last hard thing, challenging, let's say hard, challenging thing that we'll do. All right, so from here we're going to move into our final posture, corpse pose, Shavasana, which Fritz is already in, and so is Sam. They played and now they're resting. So go ahead and lower down to the mat, flat back. Make any adjustments that you need. If you're a little cold, you can grab a blanket and cover yourself. If you have a bolster, you can put it underneath your thighs or your knees to kind of elevate your feet up. If you have a pillow nearby, you can use that for your head. Again, take whatever you need, and then make sure to give yourself some space on the mat. Really spread out. So I'm going to bring my feet as wide as the mat, and then just let my toes go. Then bring my arms out to a 45-degree angle. Again, palms can be up, down, or you can even place your pinky side of your hand on the mat, on the floor. And then from here, just close down the eyes and breathe. And feel the energy from your practice just moving through your body, letting all the different asana poses just marinate in it. And just relax. Let everything go. All the stress of the day, of the week, of the month, of the year, friends' references. I'm going to go silent for just a moment and allow you just to go inward. Don't worry, I'll keep watch of the time, and when it's time to bring you back out of the posture, I will let you know. So every practice I pull an oracle card, kind of for the practice to see what kind of messages that there might be for us as a collective in this practice, or anybody that watches this later on. And the card I pulled today was Wasp Spirit. And the message is, sometimes life stings, which I will be fully upfront with you. I was not having a very good day before recording this. So I don't know, it might be speaking to me, but maybe to some, hopefully to everybody, but definitely being called out. So the full message is not all that spirit creates in nature is easy to love. But when we look through the eyes of wasp spirit, we recognize that even though sometimes life stings, there is a purpose for pain, just as there is a purpose for wasps in the natural world. Wasps keep insect populations down, supporting the growth of plants, which is a great thing. I mean, I don't like wasps, but I also don't like other insects, so I guess that kind of works. So too, the sting of life may hurt, and you may feel deeply disappointed or even resentful wasp spirit has shown up. But you will soon come to see that spirit has something wonderful in store for you. You may well come to realize that being stung led to something far better than you had envisioned for yourself. Perhaps behind the scenes, wasp spirit was conspiring with spirit to ensure that you could grow something of value to you. Spirit has a plan, and wasp spirit plays a part. Have you ever looked back and been glad your prayers weren't answered because the path you took led to something far better? Wasp spirit is a reminder to reflect on those times, for today's sting may hurt, but something better awaits you. I thought that was a really good message and a really good personal call out for me to maybe reframe my thinking about some things and to just, well, again, let some things go and not focus on that, you know? Everything's working out best case scenario. Okay, if you are able to stay in Shavasana, stay as long as you're able to or as feels comfortable to you. If you need to go ahead and go, then slowly start to deepen your breath. Wiggle fingers and toes, bringing movement back into them. And then when you're ready, go ahead and place your feet on the floor, just flat on the floor, bending through the knees. Once you're there, go ahead and roll to your favorite side. Doesn't matter, whichever one you prefer. And then come into like a little fetal position, and you can use your bottom arm as a pillow. Take just a couple breaths there. And once you're ready, go ahead and push yourself into a comfortable seated position, bringing your head and neck up last. And then you can open your eyes if they're still closed. We'll all meet here together. So thank you so much for spending your time and your energy and your practice with me. I hope you enjoyed practice today and it helped maybe let you rethink things, maybe re-energize you, put you in a better mood. If you like this video, please like and share it. I also have, so this is my free November practice. I do a practice every week, and so I do one at the beginning of the month for free, like this one is, and then every week after that I do another practice, and those are housed on my Patreon account under Shine On Yoga. It's $10 a month to subscribe, and then you also have the access to all the past practices. So you can go through all of them. I have quite a few on there now. I've been doing this for several months now, and that's kind of where they've all been housed at. So those are there for you whenever you'd like to practice. Otherwise, on this YouTube channel, I have free ones that I do every month that you can continue to use and practice. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions of things you'd like to do, or any ideas. That would be wonderful. Also, if you think other people that would enjoy this practice, please share my channel with them. Also, please subscribe, like videos. It all helps support me, and so I can bring this practice out to others and really help more people, and introduce them to yoga, because it really does have a lot of good beneficial tools. All right, I'll stop rambling. I'll let you guys go. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the day, week, weekend, and a great month of November. Namaste.